You have a chapter called More Than S'mores.
Yeah.
And it was an interesting exercise, which is actually it might not be out of work. I pictured it that way. But you had mentioned it's essentially about connecting, getting people to connect at a deeper level. And you had talked about how Harvard Business Review did a study, and it showed that, quote, employees were not exhausted from their workloads per se, although I understand that some people may argue that has something to do with it. That's fine. But primarily because they were lonely. And that corporations need to work on how to alleviate that loneliness.
Yeah. So that article from Harvard Business Review was called The Loneliest Workers in America, and that actually came out pre-COVID. And what they found was that exactly what you just said, it might not be workload, it might actually be that individuals are feeling burnt out from isolation and loneliness. They equated loneliness and burnout to the healthcare costs of smoking 15 cigarettes a day in that research article. And when I wrote More Than S'mores, I almost didn't put it in the book because I did a poll with my employees and I said, what was your favorite activity? They all voted for that one as the top one. And I'm like, that was so easy. I got everyone together on the beach during work hours. It was after a quarterly business review, and we had a bonfire and we had s'mores and cocktails, except I required that each individual bring their favorite passage of inspiration or their favorite quote, and we went around the fire and they read it aloud, and then they shared why it was their favorite passage or quote at the time with each other. And it ended up being super profound. And it was something sort of simple that I had thrown together. And it hit me later when I was analyzing the results of their vote that they were lonely, and that really connected them and brought them together because they were feeling isolated at the time. And they saw the humanity in each other. So those things are things you can do on Zoom. I think what you're talking about too are two different things, because now COVID hits and now everyone's on Zoom, and companies are expecting employees, because now you're kind of getting into this lack of trust space where companies might not be trusting employees to work from home. And so then they're just loading up their calendar with Zoom appointments and not giving them any personal space for creativity and inspiration and innovation to flow. You can't go back to back in Zoom meetings and be innovative in your company. You have to have moments of silence and give your brain moments of rest for new things to spring forth. And then you're also talking about work-life enmeshment. You're talking about how people's lives have become enmeshed because they're working from home and they don't know how to separate that. We're all sort of experiencing that, right? We can work 24/7 now with technology. How do we shut off the work and focus on our family, friends, connecting, whatever that may be? And I'm not going to tell anyone how, but I'll coach them through what works for them. You know, everyone can write their own prescription for what works for them. I had a client that was a CFO for a company, and she was having that same issue, work-life enmeshment on Zoom. I'm sitting at my dining table all day in front of a camera, and then I'm in my home. I don't feel like I have a break. So she wrote her own prescription where she's like, I'm going to change out my office chair back to my dining chair. I'm going to walk upstairs. I'm going to change out of my work clothes, put my, comfy clothes on, and do this routine every night to where I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to cut the enmeshment.